Tom Brady, who is now Fox Sports' lead NFL analyst, sounded off on Colin Cowherd's show on the chances for the Chiefs to three-peat as Super Bowl champions. Thought we'd react to that, plus an interesting free agent target that we'll get into here in a little bit as well. But first, Chiefs Kingdom, if you want the Chiefs to three-peat as Super Bowl champions, hit that thumbs up icon, like this video. It would be awesome if they could pull it off. You show us how bad you want it, hit that like button, and let's dive into today's show. I'm Harrison Graham. Can the Kansas City Chiefs repeat for a third straight year, three-peat I should say, as Super Bowl champions? Welcome into the Chiefs Report. Let's get into what Brady had to say here on Cowherd's show. He said to put three of those together in back-to-back-to-back seasons with drafting last, a very hard schedule, all of the turnover and free agency, and guys continuing to be motivated, it's a big challenge. That's not to say the Chiefs couldn't accomplish that. They have a tremendous coach in Andy Reid who doesn't ever look backward. Got a great quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, who, as we know, when he's on the field, he's as great as a football player as there is in the NFL. They've got a lot of great pieces, but to win it all again is a momentous task. No team has never done it. Like, this isn't Tom Brady just talking out of his ass or being like, oh, I don't want them to do it because I never did it. Literally never happened in the history of the NFL. The only time someone has won 3 titles in a row was the Packers won the very last NFL championship, is what they called it, and then they did win the first 2 Super Bowls in 66 and 67, but in the Super Bowl era, we've never seen 3 straight Super Bowls. It has never happened in the history of the sport. Now, the Chiefs, I do think, have the ingredients. Brady mentioned it. Mahomes and Reid. It's the best quarterback-head coach combo in the NFL, and I think by a pretty wide margin now, especially that Belichick and Brady are out. You have Chris Jones and Travis Kelce, who are playoff assassins. They have come up big time after time after time in the postseason. So you absolutely have what it takes to pull this off if you are Kansas City. But again, if you're just playing the odds, the probability, you would take the field over the Chiefs. Doesn't mean the Chiefs aren't going to win it. They're the team to beat, which Brady later said, but it is not easy to pull off. I mean, you're already in rare air that the fact the Chiefs have won 3 out of 5 and been to a 4th one in there as well. If you want the Chiefs to three-peat, type me down in the comments below. It would be awesome. It would be historic. If anyone could do it, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce seemed like and Andy Reid and Chris Jones seemed like the quartet to pull it off. Could the Chiefs sign former All-Pro David Bakhtiari? I think a forgotten man in NFL free agency, as the Chiefs still do have a big question mark over at left tackle. Ian Rapoport last week provided an update on Bakhtiari's status, saying that he is recovering from knee surgeries, had a positive follow-up exam with expert Dr. Brian Cole, and Cole proclaimed him on schedule for a 2024 season return. He's the chairman of orthopedics at Rush University Medical Center, yada, 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 talking about his credentials. Look, Bakhtiari is a great player. The problem has been he just has not been able to stay on the field. Missed 16 to 17 games last year before the knee flared up again. Missed 6 to 17 games the year before, 16 the year before that, only 4 in 2020. If you told me you'd get 2020 or 2022 where it'd be 6 games or less, I would absolutely sign him because this is a very good player when healthy. His PFF grade has never been below a 70, which is well above average. His lowest pass block grade was his rookie year at 72.1. And in 11 seasons, he's given up just 29 sacks. It's less than 3 sacks per year. Like, he's a really, really good player. Now, coming up next, we'll get into the Chiefs' kind of current options at left tackle and whether or not I think signing Bakhtiari is worth it if you are Kansas City. But first, I do want to remind you guys that we do have some Xavier-worthy jerseys available at chatsports.com/worthy. That link will be in the comments and in the description. Get yourself a jersey of the Chiefs rookie first-round pick, Xavier Worthy, chatsports.com/worthy. Link in the comments and description. Click and shop today. Get yourself a new Chiefs jersey. You look at the Chiefs' offensive line right now, there's one glaring question mark. Left tackle. You have 2 great guards in Joe Thuney and Trey Smith. Creed Humphrey with Jason Kelce retired is, I would say, pretty clearly the best center in the NFL. Juwan Taylor had his issues last year, but you feel fine with him at right tackle. But is Wanye Morris or Kingsley Suamataia ready to be a starting left tackle? Donovan Smith wasn't great last year, but you at least were like, okay, this guy's like a 10-year vet. He can hold his own. I know that you're putting Lucas Niang over there. So that brings you back to David Bakhtiari. Like, is that someone you're willing to bring in? If nothing else, maybe he's competition, right? Like, you bring him in. If Morris or Sumatai isn't ready, Bakhtiari can plug in and play. The reality is he's not going to play 17 games given his injury history. So maybe he's kind of the perfect blend. You sign him to an incentive-laden deal. If he wins the job, cool, you have a starter until he gets hurt. If not, he can be, kind of a mentor for the young guys, available when and if needed over at left tackle. I don't mind this at all. Obviously, it would come down to price, but if he's healthy, he's still an upper-tier left tackle in the NFL, and I think he would chomp at the bit to compete for a championship with Kansas City. Would you sign David Bakhtiari? Type S for sign or P for pass. I think I would, as long as his price wasn't that expensive. And again, I think you could do kind of a incentive type deal, for so many snaps he plays, he gets incentives, stuff like that. So S for sign, P for pass. Give me your thoughts down below. All right, before we get out of here, are some offseason schedule changes coming for the NFL. There's been some chatter that OTAs get eliminated as soon as next year. Of course, those are voluntary practices that are going on right now. Tom Pelissero putting this out there, NFL Network. End of OTAs, the NFL Players Association is working to finalize a proposal to overhaul the offseason starting as soon as 2025, eliminating voluntary on-field work in spring in favor of a longer training camp ramp-up, with players reporting in mid-June to early July per sources. The union has been seeking feedback on the plan from players, a majority of whom support the change, sources say. A formal proposal is expected this summer. Off-season work rules are collectively bargained, and any changes would require an agreement with the NFL. Now, I know Pelissero is saying so far most players do agree with this. I do wonder, though, because the current schedule, a couple things. One, OTAs are voluntary. So a guy like Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, yeah, they're usually going to show up, but they're excused a lot of the time. They don't have to go to these practices. And then you got the 1-3-day period of mandatory minicamp early June, and then you're off until late July. You can go travel, spend time with family, friends, whatever the case may be. If you go to this new model where you're having to report to training camp in late June, say June 25th, sure, you may have a period in May and June where you have more time off, but at the same time, if you're someone with kids or something like that, a lot of these players are, your kids don't get out of school until, say, June 1st. That's limited time to go on vacation and do some of those type of things as families. So I think some players, like younger players, would probably love this, right? Because then you don't really have to do football stuff with the team until late June. But I do wonder if you're a vet and something like that, that 6-week period off and from early mid-June until late July is pretty nice. So be curious to see what happens here. I think there will be some split among the players, but it would certainly be a pretty notable change to eliminate 10 OTA practices and just go with more of a longer, ramped-up training camp that would kind of probably start with what looks like an OTA practice, non-contact, but it would be required. That would be the big difference. I don't think the first part of training camp would be voluntary. I think it would be required, which maybe teams would prefer that, so I'd be curious to see if players would. So something to monitor league-wide for the rest of the summer and if they get implemented for next offseason. All right, I'm Harrison Graham. Thanks for tuning in to the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you soon.